Good morning. It's still January 17th, 2021, and this is episode 7, title Mandela Effect. Now, for those of you who have never heard of the Mandela Effect, you should look it up on the internet. Basically, real quick, this got started years ago when some people started to say that, when we heard more and more about Mandela and he got more and more famous and got up in the world, the New World Order, One World Order, and was kind of worshipped to a degree. Some of us, including myself, said, well, from my memory, Mandela died while he was in prison. And so other people said, no, he never died in prison. And so, all this talk and pictures of Mandela around, the people who said, well, he died in prison were considered nuts. And over the years, more and more stuff, a lot of Disney stuff and a lot of other cartoons, and even Star Wars. The big one in Star Wars is NP3, whatever, the gold robot that is always dancing around. In the later episodes, had one silver leg or silver arm or something, and the claim was some people's memory said that this robot never had one silver leg. It was all gold at one time. And of course, one of the series, it rather than her, all got torn apart and got a wrong leg or arm that was silver when it was put back together again. However, in the early version of the movie, when it was put back together, it was all gold. So that was another example. A lot of commercials, Snap, Crackle, Pop, and the mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the whatever of them all. Of course, that's a Disney one. Anyway, those are examples. You can do more research on it. Well, this falls in a little bit on one of my earlier books on that we live under simulation. And it was part of the title was Coffee Table Guide to a Simulated World. And it's kind of a cult following, but there's always now and again articles that are put out on the media and on the internet about the idea that our world is simulated. So this actually gets back to, again, the Mandela Effect. That's what that's all about. If we're living in a simulated world, one part of that world could have been where Mandela died in prison, and somehow some glitch got things changed, and now we're living in a parallel universe where Mandela never died. So this is a very interesting concept, and that's why it's actually gaining in more and more people's thoughts and talked about in discussions. And as I say, it's a direct link to simulations. Now, a few years back, I wrote a long article, and I was even going to make a short book out of it, but I dropped it. I did some other books on the Mandela Effect. And if I had, I would have had to updated it a year or so ago when I developed this idea, scientific theory, as opposed to a conspiracy theory, because science, true science, is gained through observation, critical observation, open-minded but balanced observation, and then doing some testing to prove whether that concept or theory is true or not. Of course, today's so-called science and academia and school has taught us, oh, you can't hurt somebody's feeling, so we have feel-good science today, which is absolutely not science. It's totally faulty science. And then, of course, academia and the big publishing, commercial publishing industries and the newspapers to have the word pseudoscience, and anybody that doesn't agree with them is labeled as pseudoscientists. And because the scientists get paid more and the newspaper so-called reporters get paid more, we should listen to them, because that's what why Bill Bates is running the world today, or running the world on planet Earth, along with George Soros. But they're on planet Earth, so we don't need to worry about them. So, getting back to Mandela Effect, my newer theory, and it makes a lot more sense and is actually simple if you realize how highly developed AI intelligence computers are. That's artificial intelligent computers, and how complicated the algorithm system is. And how so many of the old books are being destroyed or lost, and we're reading and getting our information and recording our written word on computers. And if you really understand computers and the extent of the interlocked computers, which a lot of you are learning a lot more with this past election, how easily it can be faked once the computers are plugged into the internet. That's why they're not supposed to be plugged into the internet. Because the internet has back doors in it. Computers have back doors in it. And once they're plugged in to a single source, like a corporation from the City of London, like the One World Corporation, it's very easy to control things from the top down to all the many computers or voting machines. So, now I'm not saying to a degree we are simulated, and I go into this on one of my more recent books, the one that on PayHip is listed as $9,000, or no, $900,000. The one that the simulation of 1944 that goes into it even more. Now, the reason, getting off the subject a bit, the reason that's so much money is because I'm offering to sell myself as a mercenary, not to fight wars, but not to sexually sell myself, but I will work from 3 months to 6 months or up to a year with whoever buys that book to help them understand what I'm basically talking about, and more than what I'm talking about in this video, so that they can work this simulation and understand it more, which is basically just a empire or system. And that's what we're all about today, is understanding how the system operates, how this empire operates. And that book goes more into systems. So, getting back to the Mandela Effect again, what I'm saying now, my theory is that all the records and the artificial intelligence actually goes back to the days of the second and third production of the movie Star Wars, and it goes back to the days when Mandela got out of prison, or the second Mandela got out of prison and got preached that he was such a great man. But basically, he was a puppet, just like the past presidents after JFK were puppets, including Ronald Reagan, and even Trump to a small degree. But understand, Trump has to play along because he is a president under the corporation. Now, Trump and all you people who revoke your 14th Amendment citizenship, the first part of it there, and set up your counties, the other side of the county, as a constitutional form of government, you could have you could elect president, or elect president as a constitutional president rather than as a corporate president, and he could have 8 years if he won the second election on that, you see. So it's, if you understand what I'm saying, it's very easy to get out of this big, big, big mess, which is really hell on earth today, because the central bankers are running a debt system, and most of you, including myself to a small degree, are indebted to the powers that be, that as of the 20th of January, we'll find out whether it's going to be communism or a continuation of a pseudo capitalism, crony capitalism is what I and others call it, which is far, far, far from capitalism, true capitalism, and it's actually just the opposite. So let's see, that's 13 minutes, 14 minutes. So I know most of you are going to say, well, that's impossible to change all this. But if you realize commercials are part of the commercial grid run out of the city of London, Hollywood is for sure, and definitely Disneyland. They're one of the biggest promoters. The old man Disney from back in the World War II days and later, that's where he got his start, where he got his money, by making commercials, cartoon characters that were pro the Allies, to help keep those drums going for war, more war, and then then it was the Korean War and the Korean War, which was actually a real farce, because the communists up north were getting tip-offs on what the movements were in the South, what the military movements were in the South. And that's why McCarthy got kicked out, because the only real battle we really won was when McCarthy did the one battle, I forget the name of it offhand, but you people that study it will know which I'm talking about. But he didn't report all that to the higher-ups. He just went and did it. And so the higher-ups weren't able to tip off the communists about what our military movements were, so they were able to counter. So this time they were not able to counter-attack because they didn't know what McCarthy was doing. Yeah, it was General McCarthy, wasn't it? No, not McCarthy. I'm getting mixed up with McCarthyism. The big general and that President, the president then, and during the war, kicked out. He demoted him. He kicked him out. Yeah, I guess I'm getting a brain drain. Two videos right in a row. I better knock it off. I can't even remember the president. It'll come to me as soon as I'm getting brain lock. It's because I got the wrong general's name there, and I'm having things going on with my brain because I'm still exposed, trying not to, with the natural flavors and MSG and the brain confusion of the electronics. Incidentally, there's a cell tower not too far from here, and then there's one on the other side of the hill, and there's even another one over to the right. So there's three cell towers around here that are very close, actually. So anyway, that's enough for now. Be good and buy some of my books. They're only $4 or $5. There's a couple that are only $3. And somebody out there, buy that one book. I'll give you a discount if you put me up in a grandmother's cottage in your back lower 40 acres, or let me teach you all how to eat better foods so you don't get brain drain. It's a little difficult doing that out of a minivan. Anyway, take care. Bye now.